And hello, one and all, everybody, to Unpopular Review reviewing all things NXT, the battles before Battleground, which is happening in a few weeks, and all the insanity that we got to see tonight. Now, normally it is the NXTrio, but as we heard last week, the great Grand Slam Puma will be taking some time off to take care of anything that he needs. So we send them our love. And unfortunately, Frecklesensei could not join us tonight. But it is ladies' night here after such a while. Reunited, and it feels so good from All Elite Women from the AEW review show, which you can catch tomorrow on Unpopular Review after AEW is over. Miss Cactus Katie.
Yes, actually, brand new announcement. We're gonna bring it right here on NXT for all our regular viewers. We're actually going to do a watch along instead of review this week. So watch Dynamite with us on all our social medias. We'll be watching it live and follow it. And instead of doing a review show, we'll be watching it and get our live reaction. So we're gonna try that out.
Well, last time I watched along anything on the show was Deadline a couple years back. And
Ah,
that was quite the thing. And even then, we still reviewed it afterwards. So, but that was our
yeah.
choice. So, you all just want to watch along and give your reactions then and there. That's fine.
We're
So,
gonna
y'all
try
are
it.
going to
We're gonna
have
see
fun with
how
that.
it goes. Yes.
We'll give it a test and see how that goes. And now, before we get into the product, as many of us know, we had the unfortunate news about 12 to 13 people being let go. And I know that the men of the bottom line is I took this personal, not because I do it myself, but I know plenty of people who train and work hard for wrestling and doing shows every other weekend because it is their dream. They want to get signed. They want to go somewhere to a WWE, an AEW, a TNA, hell, maybe even NWA, even if you don't like any of the products. But these girls and boys, they train like 3, 4, maybe even 5 days a week. And to say that they got let go because they're lazy, what is wrong with you? You don't
Mm.
wrestle. You don't get in that ring. You don't take no bumps. To say that to the people to the likes of Priscilla Kelly and Elena, formerly known as G and Cora Jade, I mean, for real. And for WWE to let go of Dakota Kai on AAP Island, that is insulting. And
I
for
think
those in
that
the
is
world who
un
feel, and for those in the world who
I
feel like, oh, Dakota doesn't get a pop. Nobody likes Dakota. Nobody's gonna miss her when she's gone. Nobody's gonna call her. Nobody's gonna want her when she's gone. Out of everybody that's left, she's the one that's gotten the most offers. Just saying.
I was gonna say she's had the most news around her. Dakota Kai, and then and Jade. Those those are the
Well, I mean, the news
ones.
on Cora Jade is that she made an
Yeah.
OF account already. But hey, gotta make that money somehow until you can live out your dream. 90-day
Yeah.
clause, so some of these people can't compete. I feel
Yeah.
bad for Tatum because she lost her two best friends and her man in the span of 24 hours from those releases. So I feel for her. So
Yeah.
hopefully
I you know
she
what?
gets
I
back
think
on
if
her
you've
feet and
been
she becomes pushed and loved again.
yeah, and I feel like if you've been released, that 90-day clause should be removed. Like because it wasn't your choice to have that happen.
I mean, it
And
wasn't, but at the end of the day, these people were still technically under contract. So I guess that no compete clause is also part of that contract. So it is what it is.
you know, George, you're late to the game on that.
Yeah,
Yes,
she
that
does.
broke
They
out
literally just
this
posted this
morning.
like maybe what, yesterday or today? That
This
yeah, she
morning,
had
I
the
think.
OS and
Yeah.
she got let go.
Yeah. So we all know where George's gonna be later tonight.
I know what a good number of people are going to be tonight, especially given how she looked before and after some
Enhancements.
that she's had done in the span of that time frame. But
You know
besides
what? If it makes her feel better, go for it.
exactly. I mean, people want Mandy to come back, but she's making so much coin doing those OF pages, plus her donut business with Daria, formerly known as Sonya Deville. Let her make her coin that way.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it, girlfriend.
And we're going to talk all things NXT while I'm shrouded by my green because, as you know, it is May and it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you know anybody that's ever going through some stuff, always feel free to ask. And even if you think nobody's going through anything, everybody's going through something. Everybody has a
Everybody.
I shared mine a few days ago on Instagram, so
Nice. Good for you. Yeah, you know, everybody's got something, and you know, if somebody's having a hard day, you don't really know why. Just everybody give grace to everybody, show grace to everybody, and we'll all be in a better place. So,
you always treat people how you want to be treated. Like I saw in a little video on social media, if you respect me, I respect you. You're nice to me, I'm nice to you. If you're not nice to me,
don't
I'll still
expect
give
it.
you a kindness or not say anything at all.
Oh, you're better than me. I'll, you know,
I mean, I do that in
to an
person.
extent.
I just talk smack about them in private with people that know the situation, so that way I
Fair.
can get all that out and not let it out at that person because I'm not giving them that
Exactly.
power.
Because we're humans.
Exactly. But speaking of
So,
giving power, it is NXT. We had quite a show with all these battles before Battleground in a few weeks from now. And we had all the talents come in to make their entrance to show us who's going to be on tonight. And we started out with
lots
the
of people
team
tonight.
champions of Hank and Tank, which I love. And you
I,
say his name, and he appears because I
Joe
believe in Joe.
Hendry, right?
And
I
yes,
can't believe you don't have the Joe Henry thing on yours. I don't know if I
I don't
have
have
it on
any.
my
I
computer
don't have
anymore. You
anything
need
on
it
here
on
for
your
him.
NXT.
I like him. I know there's a few people in our
Oh,
in our unpopular
yeah.
family that can't stand him, but sorry.
No, that's
Verse
okay.
that went up against the Darkstate.
I wonder if it's mine.
There's out be the person Darkstate is definitely a powerhouse team that is a force to be reckoned with and is definitely a very big like kind of gives essence of Undisputed Era mixed with some hints of the Shield for me. But I mean, great match all around, solid chemistry all around. I had no problems with it, and I definitely knew that Dark State was going to get the dub. And they pinned one half of the tag champions, so we're just gonna see what happens from here on out afterwards. I mean, I had no problems with this match. I didn't
It
dislike
was a
it. I'm
good
not,
match.
it was my favorite of the night, but it was a good way to start the show. So,
It was a
and with
great
Trick
way.
Williams coming in to make interference because he had to attack Joe Hendry because Joe Hendry called him out for how he's been acting.
Oh, it's only I just started yawning. Goodness gracious. Yes, no, it was so cool to see Trick Williams come out. I know it wasn't gonna be long. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, it wasn't me. My hands are all the way out here, so.
I know that's all right. You know, I love that we can find that clip, but I go to the look for the Joe Henry clip and I can't find it. But that's
Well,
okay.
almost everybody apparently has that clip. I do not, and I don't plan on having it, so.
Nice. Appreciate it, everybody. Welcome to UPR. But yes, it was so great to see Joe Henry in there. He is just on the up and up, and I'm so excited for him. He is gonna do so much in this next year. We're gonna see him all over the place, so uh, I'm excited to see what happens here. I'm sad that they lost the Hank and Tank and Joe Hendry. Um, but you know what? We'll see how this Darkstate moves on at Battleground.
Well, I'll just say this Darkstate interests me far more than the Cullen could ever interest anybody within a 20-mile radius. After all of
Right.
that, we had Thea Hale with Carmen Petrovic giving her a pep talk backstage. And Jada Parker comes in the back and calls her a annoying yapping chihuahua who doesn't know about being strong, and basically tells off Carmen for not dropping Ashante sooner and being too soft about it. And Carmen points out that she choked challenging for the title, and and Jada says if she's feeling froggy, her ass better jump, and then they make it a match for later in the night.
Wow. Yeah. You know what? Nope. Nope. Something about a little dog, you just don't mess with it.
Well, it depends on the little dog and how much its bark matches its bite. I've been around Chihuahuas
There
that
you
have been
go.
nothing but sweets, and then I've been around some that I wish I could put in a cage elsewhere so I wouldn't have to hear
Yes.
it with me being polite about it because I can't say something else because it will be considered animal cruelty. But
Right.
we do.
So I have a dog that's a Chihuahua Dachshund mix, like the two worst combinations. She actually is my sweet one, but man, that bark will never stop, ever. So, and I think I'm done again.
We some of the LFG guys, LFG more specific, working out on stage, and one of them is tell me that uh, like that look like in a moron, and they going at it. You see Timothy Thatcher backstage, and we see WWE ID member Sean Legacy, who I've seen who I've seen wrestle once. Very talented, worked very well. I believe in that match actually went up against another WWE ID member in It's Gall, which interesting
Yep.
character to say the least. Calls himself like a real life action figure type deal. Comes out with all his medals, so on and so forth. Sean Legacy comes out just being all around good old babyface, kind of like Captain America, so to speak.
That's one way to
And
put it.
yeah, I mean, there's no really other way to put it how he is. I mean, I saw him at a show, saw him talking with some people afterwards because they were selling merchandise and stuff. They were cool. And we get to see the NQCC. They're talking for tonight. Charlie says, major opportunity, not about individual glory or grudges. They're there to work together to get one of them a title shot against Obafemi. Davion is right away like his right eye man's and like, hell yeah, I'm in. Miles Bourne is a little hesitant, which something might be happening.
Interesting.
But they all do put their hands together for some team spirit, as Ren Sinclair suggests that they do, and they go back and they get ready for that 25 men contender battle royal.
25 men. Can you imagine? They couldn't even step without bumping into somebody. That ring was so full.
I mean, I've been at a couple indie shows that did do something like that, and I've seen it in person. So yes, I can absolutely imagine it because I've seen it and recorded it, which you can find on my channel, The Unofficial Karen Woman on YouTube.
There you go. Yes, go check that out.
Listen,
But
we gonna get our shameless plugs in. We do them later in the show. We usually do them around the end of the show. I'm doing it now.
why not? Do it twice.
So nice. I'll say it twice, but I'll do that later.
There you go.
But we now get Kelani Jordan versus Zaria coming out with Soruka because, as we know last week, Kelani wanted a title match because she feels like Soul is not a defending fighting champion, wants to get her belts back, become the first two-time women's North American champion, which, again, way too soon. And Zaria shut that down. She's like, champ should be giving out title shots left and right over here.
They mentioned that a lot. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when when the person that's with you is kind of like your partner, so to speak, and is saying that, but is also looking at the belt a little bit, you're going to think that they have some hidden motives, which, I mean, Zaria could want a match. It could happen. She could want a match. Soul would give her one if she asked, but I'm getting vibes of the whole Bianca-Sasha thing when Sasha attacked Bianca because she wanted a title shot. And Bianca said, if you wanted one, all you had to do was ask. And Sasha says, I don't ask. I am the blueprint.
Yeah.
I'm the boss. I can get a title shot if I want to. But it's neither here nor there. But this match was pretty good. Kind of a little bit of a David versus Goliath type vibes. It wasn't a squash match, which I appreciated. We get to see Kelani getting some licks and putting up some defense because we're all sick and tired of the trope. The big, tall, giant person automatically beats the smaller framed person in 2 minutes flat. We don't need that. If I want to see 2-minute women matches, I'll watch stuff from the early 2000 days or the 90s or from the Divas era. I don't need to watch that now because we're going to be going backwards as far as progress, which we already did a little bit with releasing other releases, mostly being women, especially a couple that were presented a lot on TV and people were behind. But again, neither here nor there.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? There really wasn't that. There was, I'm going to say, if none, very little scrum matches tonight. All the matches were pretty good.
Yes, there wasn't one that I was like bored or like one that I could be looking at my phone, making conversation and be like, this could have been better. But I also feel that they should stop doing the picture-in-picture thing because it's very distracting, especially for the commercials. Especially if you do something, if you need to use the restroom, you can't because then you're going to be missing everything.
AEW does the same thing, and it just drags it out. It doesn't give you that.
I don't like when any program does that point blank period.
Yeah, it literally doesn't give you the mental break that it needs to.
Yeah. It really doesn't, but in wrestling, there really should be more mental breaks, but unfortunately there isn't. And especially there should be now because it is Mental Health Awareness Month.
What?
Well, I mean, if she wants that champion, she can go and get it. So would give her that match, no problem. So she didn't need a betrayer for it, but would not surprise anybody if she did. And she would want to show everybody that she is that powerhouse, that she is that intimidating character that they presented her as when she first came into the scene.
Oh man, there were some great moves, Jeffrey. Some great moves tonight. We saw some great moves in the Giulia match too.
We saw quite a few moves in that match. Some that had some people nervous, worried that Giulia. People were gonna start quoting South Park and being like, she killed Giulia. Oh my God, she killed Giulia.
Oh my goodness.
The only line I know from South Park, so I do not watch it. So nobody ever think that I watch South Park on my private time.
Yeah.
It's too much in the worst way possible.
Oh man. Well, that was a great match. But you know what's next? You know what's next, ma'am.
What's next, madam?
That would be the #1 men contender 25-man challenge. Nice.
25 men, one title opportunity for the chance to go up against Obafemi at Battleground.
That is a challenge.
In a few weeks. It is quite a challenge. We also had Wesley with Tyson and Tyreek. They roll up on Tony D. Tony says Wes knows a thing or two about betrayal since he betrayed his former Rascal brothers and Zach and Trey. And Wes says, yeah, I did, and I do it again. And you seem less confident, he says to Tony, which is why you're not in the battle royal tonight. And
this was before. This was in the locker room.
yes, this was before.
Yes.
And Tony says, if you want to be a tough guy, come take a shot. Wes says, I got a battle royal to prepare for, and then walks away.
Yep.
Then also Lola Vice is chatting with Stephanie, a little bit of discussion here and there mixed with English and Spanish, which is a very normal thing that Spanish-speaking people do. We tend to switch from English to Spanish sometimes because either some words we know in one language versus the other, or it's just part of the natural flow of the conversation if you're close enough. Or sometimes you just switch because somebody could be passing by. And we don't want you to understand what we're saying if you don't know any Spanish.
Oh, man, that's so true. I wish I was talented enough to know 2 languages. I think my child knows more Spanish than I do.
Well, I mean, isn't your husband Spanish?
From Spain, not.
Does he know any Spanish?
No.
Oh my God.
No, his grandparents came over. That's as far as I went. Yeah. Nope, he does not. So unfortunately, we have to stick to the English countries when we travel, because I do know where the restroom, the bento, is.
Well, I mean, I guess that's how they must say it over there, because usually for us, we just say, ¿Dónde está el baño? Where's the bathroom?
Baño, that's it, baño. Yes, because we just came back from the Dominican Republic, and the resort we were visiting, it was no English signs. So I did find out what restroom was.
There you go.
Yep. And I was.
And also, you saying that about your child knowing more than one language kind of reminds me of when I used to work retail, and the parents had the kids talk to the registers because they thought that we didn't speak any Spanish, but a good number of us did. So.
Oh no! I will say, I know we are totally off topic, but when we were in the Dominican Republic a couple weeks ago, they were talking to my husband in full Spanish, and he's like, I have no idea. And the guy goes, "You don't speak Spanish?" Like he's like, "No, sir, no, sir."
It's like when you speak English, but you don't know any Spanish, and the only Spanish phrase you wind up learning is "No habla español."
Yeah, that's what
I don't speak
saying.
Spanish.
Yeah, he was like, "You not Spanish?" Or I think he said Hispanic, but yeah.
Yes. But Lola was saying that if anybody could walk into hell as the NXT Women's Champion and walk out still holding it, it's the Dark Angel, La Primera. And Giulia does come up to tell Stephanie she hasn't forgotten, and she'll see her at Battleground.
Yep.
Now we can get to the 25-man tag contenders battle royal, which we had.
We had a surprise guest.
We quite had a surprise guest because as almost everybody was in there, we had Ethan Page coming and making his usual entrance. I'm like, okay, he's a 25th man in. They're done. They're gonna start the thing. Nope. Yeah. Lights go off.
Lights went out.
Yep. A single spotlight. We hear guitar stringing.
You just hear the guitar.
No freaking way. And you hear everybody chanting, "Walk with Elijah." Walk with Elijah. I could have heard I think I heard a couple people saying "Walk with Elias" because old habits die hard. But
yes, but
my jaw dropped. I actually was excited. I'll never say that I was a super big fan of Elias, but I enjoyed the character work.
Yeah,
ring work was fine, but I enjoyed the character work. I mean, it's not every day you see a wrestler walk in who is professionally trained at that, just playing a guitar.
Yeah. I mean, they were chanting "Welcome Home." The whole stadium was so happy to see.
They were chanting "Welcome Home."
Yep. So
Where's Kevin
great.
Owens? Recovery.
Yes, he had some surgery that needed to be done. So, but you know what? It was a great 25-man. It was pretty long.
I
I
mean,
mean,
25 men going back and forth
yeah.
trying to make sure that they didn't get eliminated. Some spots here and there. I was very happy to see Lexis King get eliminated in 2 seconds flat because nobody likes him.
Was he the
Nobody
first one?
He was eliminated almost immediately after all that chaos.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. Yep.
And
then there was a lot of mistakes that caused people to fall out as well tonight. They didn't have their grips done.
anything happens in the battle royal. You could slip and not mean to fall, and it just happens. But there were a few standouts in this battle royal, and I will say when they said Rich Holland's name, I was like, Rich Holland still has a job there. When was the last time I thought this, and I'm going to ask this out loud, and I'm not being a bitch about it, but I'm just being really serious. Did anybody still remember that Rich Holland still had a job with NXT? Yeah. Because wasn't the last time we saw him when he beat Andre Chase down to the ground in the pay-per-view and got rid of Chase U, a.k.a. one of the greatest day in the great Grand Slam Puba's lives ever?
You know what? If he was here, we could have a full conversation about this.
You would have a full conversation about this to balance up the fact that what happened later on in the show, which we will get to real quickly. Because if I go on about that much longer for that.
You never know. He may be like Joe Hendry. He may show up.
Never know. There were standouts in the match. We had standout. Ethan Page had his moments here and there. Zachary Wentz was a standout for me. Sean Legacy, who I had seen before, but he held his own, and he was the longest WWE ID person in that match. And then we also had the idiots from Swipe Right, who didn't impress me, but I was very happy to see their asses get thrown out of the ring.
Yes.
When Zach threw out one half of them, I was like, thank you.
And then the rest.
And I was mad when Ethan Page threw Zach out because I was like, Ethan, I love you, but you bastard. Sorry, Dark.
Yes. Oh gosh.
But
you know what?
It was great. It came down to Javon Evans, Sean Spears, Ethan Page, and Miles Bourne. And when Miles Bourne did the power slam a la Randy Orton, I was happy. Ethan Page had to ruin our fun. And as Ethan and Sean were trying to eliminate Javon, Miles Bourne takes the opportunity and eliminates both of them. And he wins, and everybody goes crazy because the crowd was behind him. And I was tearing up because, like I've said before, I was there at the Performance Center when he debuted, when Miles Bourne was presented. So for that.
Where were they tonight?
Where was who tonight?
Where was NXT tonight? In Orlando, the Performance Center?
They were in the Performance Center as they usually are.
That's what I thought.
They only ever travel now for their own pay-per-views.
Ah, got it. Yeah, I figured that's where they were. Okay. Nice. Well, maybe next time I'm down in Florida, I'll have to hit that up.
Well, as long as you're there on a Tuesday, son, it'll work.
I know. I'm never there on Tuesday. That's a problem. Oh, well. But, yes, we had the 25 men. We had Miles win. And we had Mr. Alexa show up. That was a great segment. So great.
And nobody said his name, but he appeared to help get Trick Williams out of that contendership match because he cost him and Hank and Tank their tag match.
Yeah. Yep. Wow.
And you had Tavion and Ren just celebrating with enthusiasm. You had Tavion just sliding in that ring to hug him at a celebration, and Charlie being a little reserved and hesitant about it, like all butthurt that he teamed up with Javon before. Like, if you were there, that wouldn't have happened. But you weren't there. Tavion wasn't there. And unless they changed the rules, Ren Sinclair was not going to be able to join him. So if you want to be mad at somebody, Charlie, be mad at yourself.
Yeah. There you go. That is for sure. Well, you know what? I I I was not. He did not come off as the first appearance great view, but the longer we watch him, yeah,
I mean, everybody calls the man a young Randy Orton. If you didn't see that 2 nights, if you hadn't seen it before, you saw it now.
yeah.
He is the future for sure.
Mm.
And after all that, we have Jordynne Grace being interviewed backstage. And she says that she's going to win tonight and go on to win the title at Battleground because she's got the power advantage over the entirety of the roster. And Izzy
Yeah.
rolls up to say that she's strong, but she's not big and she's not entertaining. And I'm like, that's really rich coming from you, considering you literally have the promo skills of watching paint dry and peel off a wall.
If that. I mean, she may have been licking that paint off the wall.
No, I think the fumes of the paint drying got in her brain, unfortunately, and gave her not so great abilities to do promo work. Now, I'm being nice about how I phrase these things because I don't want to come off like I want these people to leave. I never want anybody to lose their jobs, even though I said that one time about Gallus that they should get fired. I said that because they bored me. I didn't actually mean for them to get let go, but I thought they wouldn't get let go because of their history. But anybody can get let go. Apparently, since TK doesn't give a damn about anybody.
We see that now.
But then we also get Lash Legend rolling in.
No
saying
loyalty.
If you're going to talk about strong and big, you cannot forget the bougie baddie over here, the bougie bully. And it was also
she
her
had.
birthday. And she looked beautiful in pastel blue.
She did. That was so. It just made her pop. It made her just look so pretty. I liked it. But her standing next to Jordynne just made her look tiny.
Jordynne, in between both Izzy and Lash, made her look tiny.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Well. Yeah.
Well, I
that was a great
mean,
little segment, though.
well, I mean, all I'm going to say is she did need a little improvement in her ring work, and she did improve over time. And she will definitely take the chance with the no compete clause to get better and eventually work some indie shows, maybe even get signed by a company somewhere. We'll see. But
these wrestlers
see what the future has
lot.
for these people.
Yeah.
I mean, their clause is finished in August, so
yeah.
Since it is a 90-day compete clause, or some have a 30-day compete clause, so they have until June.
Which is so much better because of the summer lineup.
And especially these people need to work.
Yeah. I mean, they're not
And Jeffrey, you say Jordynne's not short. Jordynne is 5'3".
Wow. Well, she's just like us.
Yeah, she's basically as short as us. And I mean, she was standing in between Lash Legend and Izzy Dame. I mean, you have Lash.
How tall is Lash Legend?
6 foot.
Oh, wow.
And Izzy
they need
Dame,
her look a lot taller than she.
And Izzy Dame is 5'10". Lash Legend was probably wearing some heels.
Yeah, she must have been. Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. 6 foot for a woman is pretty tall. But
it is pretty tall, but when you put some heels on a woman that tall, literal Amazon.
Yeah, but you know who is almost 6 foot? She's like 5'10" like that, and has no problem wearing heels. What actually prefers is Taylor Swift. She's 6 foot, and she wears some high heels.
Well, I mean, she feels confident in her high heels. I mean, she doesn't get those customized Christian Louboutin boots for concerts for nothing.
Right. It's all about the air store, I guess, right?
I wouldn't have gone on that Eras Tour concert even if you paid me because it's too damn expensive. That's why Disney Plus had a video of it so you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. The only thing you can
In
be sad
that
about is the fact that you
video,
weren't there to share friendship bracelets.
yes. So that video they did of the Eras tour was very, very legit, I will say. It was very, very good. Um, so if you did not get to go to the Eras tour, the video was just as good. So there you go.
And speaking of something that could feel like an era for some, we have the era of Miss Parker versus
Oh, Miss Parker. Jada Parker.
One of Dice's number ones, as discussed on the top 5
Dice.
crushes of wrestling on WWE on Unpopular Review when we did our show.
Yes,
Which
Dice, you gotta
I
get
will
back.
say this, I said it on air before, and I will say it again. For whoever runs the channel, make sure of everything. Where is the one for the top 5 men's crushes? Because I was looking for that video a while ago, and it's long gone. Where's us women being shameless about who we find attractive in wrestling?
Right? We need that.
The men can be shameless, and myself, because I like both. Why can't the rest of us women be shameless too?
There you go. There you go.
But also being shameless, we had Miss Parker with her GTA Titantron, which very grateful that they haven't gotten sued for using that logo style and everything, versus Carmen Petrovic. And you can hear the people of NXT love Jada Parker. Wouldn't be surprised if they put a belt on a woman sometime in the future.
Oh, yes. They have to, eventually.
They will. I have no qualms over that. Whenever she wants the belt, I will be happy for her. Even if I don't like you as a character, even if I don't like somebody as a character in the ring, I will always be happy and supportive whenever they win a title. It's how they carry it afterwards, whether I have more respect for them or less respect for them. That's why when Tiffany was NXT champion, I couldn't stand that title ring because she was always hiding or cheating or Ref didn't see nothing because apparently Ref was blind. Get glasses then. Right. And that's why others like Asuka, like Io, Rhea, Shayna 2 belts, those were title reigns I could get behind. Mm-hmm. And even Ember. And even Raquel. But I mean,
but you know what?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, moving on to the break room in the back, we had.
I mean, I was gonna say Jada beat her ass with that running hip attack, and she attacked her some more, making a statement.
Yes, and she did.
She was gonna throw Carmen off the apron when Thea Hill moves her out of the way and gets hit in the face. Yep. And of course, some love to Bailey as well, Mr. Christopher. Bailey has been there for so long and needs and deserves the respect for everything she has done. Of the 4 horsewomen, I feel like she's the least respected as far as like by the higher ups in some way, even though she's had some firsts in the company. So it's just like, why?
Because there's lack of respect there. It's a lack of respect.
But after all that was over, we have Ava Raine telling Joe Hendry that everything that's happening with Trick needs to stop with what happened at TNA, what's happened over at NXT, what's happened tonight. Joe Hendry says he's not backing down, and she says, yeah, I know that you're not backing down, and he's not backing down. And I talked to Santina Morella, and we have a match for you two at Battleground. Your belt against Trick Williams, and the contract signing is next week.
And he did not complain about it at all. He took it. He was like, all right, let's go.
I mean, who's going to complain about a chance to beat somebody down that has never stopped?
Yeah, well, you just never know.
You never really know. And then we get OTM cutting a promo talking about how they needed to take some time to regroup, refocus, but they're up and coming back to put the tag team division in its place. And I'm like,
Yep.
quite a few teams have done that since then. How long have you been gone now?
Like 3, 4.
Way longer than 3-4 months, I will say.
I was gonna say closer to like a year.
It probably about as long as Noam Dar was out of the picture.
Yeah.
Well, Jeffrey, according to OTM, they've been out of that mud, digging and trenching their way out of it. And it's funny because they were doing the promo, and then at least on my end, I could see the logo for Progressive pop up. So
I did. I saw that too. I noticed that.
Okay, so it wasn't just me then.
Nope. I was like,
we appreciate the words for Bailey from Christopher and Fernando. I believe one Mr. Dice Man Zia Silence would be very happy to hear some love for his shaved head queen.
yes. You know what? I'm glad to see that she's found her footing. Yeah.
But after that, we get Wesley's on the phone talking to somebody, saying it's true what they say. Everybody's got a price. We find out what it's for later. Meanwhile, we get Enamore and Briggs chatting. He says that, I know what you're going to say. I let you down tonight, and I talked to Ava, and I'm going back to Japan tonight. Briggs tells him that he doesn't want him to go. Enamore tells him he wishes he could have been a better partner and gives the vest back to him and tells him that he's a good friend and leaves, which is a heartbreaking moment in and of itself.
It was so bad. I know. It broke my heart.
And then we get the heartbreaking sight of the Cullen coming in, and then you see Brooks coming in saying that this looks familiar and that the problem's maybe not your partners, it's you. And I just wanted to go through my computer screen and just slap that man for that stupidity. Like, you're one to talk with you looking like a homeless, taller version of Sami Zayn when he grows out his hair.
Well, they all want to be Jericho. But everybody wants to be Jericho. I don't know personally why, but they all want to be Jericho.
I don't know. Some people, they should not grow their hair up because it doesn't work. I mean, Noam Dar grew out his hair. It didn't look good on him when he came back. He had his hair cut. I was like, thank you. Flashback to the Cruiserweight Classic where he looked hot. Thank you. I'll be shameless about it.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Wrestling Doll? I think we need to run a commercial real quick. You want to hit that up?
Let's go ahead and do that. At least one, so that we don't get yelled at later. You're watching Unpopular Review all things NXT tonight's ladies' night here with Sabrina, Estella, and Cactus Katie.
Yes. Maybe.
Well, we got a peaky commercial. We don't have many, but well, I'm picking just one that we have because we do not have. Here we go.
Check it Brian Keith and Big Bill came out and they said, well, we want the titles. And like, well, win a match. So
no one gives a shit. Okay? No one cares. You could take I got the mama coming out of me right now. Get in the corner, put the little hug t-shirt on, and give each other a hug and get over it. Okay? If you can't get over it, go to your rooms, shut the doors. I don't want to hear it. Okay? Thunder Tits comment. Okay?
Their name is Thunder Tits. Yes.
Thunder Tits.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Their team name is literally Thunder Tits. And I
do. I hate that word.
So don't worry. So later on in the show, I'll make sure I introduce him as that then. Don't worry. I got you.
I thought he had wrote Tony Storm wants her tits back. I'm like, oh, well.
Wow.
In my, prenuptial agreements, my one out is going to be Jon Moxley, okay?
Prenuptial agreements! You have a hall pass for Jon Moxley?
And he has a hall pass for Jon Moxley!
He's going to bleed all over you. You better not take him on a date.
if I ever have a hall pass, it is definitely not for Mr. John Moxley. I will say that much. Might be Wesley if he wasn't married. Anyways, we're back to reviewing all things unpopular of NXT here on Unpopular Review. Sabrina, Estella, and Cactus Kitty filling in for the boys.
Thank
of the
you.
NXT. You're welcome.
You know what? I love that commercial. That was one of the best commercials we've done.
I mean, we got to hear you swear, so that was fun.
That's true. That's not accurate.
And I also learned that you do not like the TITS word, so.
I am not a big fan. I just think it's a little more vulgar than I appreciate. That's all.
Well, I mean, what would you prefer we say? Tatas?
Yeah, you could do that. They're just boobs.
Well, I mean, people don't like saying boobs because then guys start laughing like idiots, like, hey, boobs.
Yeah, that's true. Or we can use, mammals, or we can use breasts. We can do, anatomy.
I mean, there's plenty of words to use to say instead.
There are.
There's always a will or a way to come up with something else, and Johnny Storm is one of the funniest things to ever happen to AEW, and WWE fumbled the bag. Always in forever.
With her, a few of them. I mean, Bobby Lashley. You got Benjamin. You have Tony Storm. You have Lord. There's so many people. Swerve. Yeah, that too. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people. Mariah may be coming over, they said.
She might be WWE bound. We will see what happens, but
I think they're trying to prepare her for Tiffany Stratton.
Well, we'll see about that. But we do have the No Quarter Catch crew, and they're chatting about the victory that Miles Bourne worked hard for. And the reason why I say that is because Charlie Dempsey makes the case that he should take the title shot for them because only he can stretch Oba's big meat, which was a very weird way to say it. And I just got to say, Charlie, are you trying to be like Christian Cage in the Patriarchy when Luchasaurus won that title shot and he took the contract from him because he could? Because that's immediately what I thought of.
But you know what, guys? Miles handled that with so much grace. He got him back. And
he got his look back real good. Because when
he did.
Oba made his way in there, he rolls up to congratulate Miles, saying that he wasn't his first choice, as he wasn't for a lot of people. I will say that he was at least I'll say top 7. I'm not going to say top 10 because that's too much with a 25-man battle royal to bet on. But I will say he was in my top 7 to pick to win. I don't have a particular order, but Oba says he's looking forward to the fight. Charlie says, no, it's me. I'm going to be the one that's actually going to take you instead.
Yeah.
The Battleground match is mine next week. And he said, but Miles stands up for himself saying, nuh-uh, this match is mine. But since you think you can handle him.
He set him up.
Since you said that only you can stretch him up, that only you could beat him down real good, and that you're going to take that title away from him, why don't you show us next week how it's done? And maybe it could be a triple threat. And then Femi's like, nope, I'm done with that. But he'll fight Dempsey next week.
It's happening.
It's
happening.
And then Charlie yells at the deaf guy about having selective hearing, to which we, of course, get Miles Bourne saying,
many funny moments. So many funny moments right there.
Listen, all I can say is I dealt with someone with hard of hearing for a minute. They have their moments where they can't hear stuff pretty well if you stand close enough to them, where they can read your lips to see what you're saying, if they can lip read really well, or if they have a hearing aid. But
you know what? I think it's just a man thing. I think they just block us out after so long.
Well, I can't wait to see the inevitable push out of Charlie Dempsey from the NQC. He's becoming nothing but a nightmare. You are not your father, Mr. Charlie Dempsey.
Mr. Sunshine.
But we do get Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors talking to Andre Chase about having some suggestions about replacing the sweater and the polo And he's like, well, everybody's used to seeing the sweater and the polo, that this is what they're used to, that this is what they see when they think of Chase U as far as Andre Chase. And they're like, nobody really wears the polos anymore, which some people do here and there only if they have to. And then they give Andre a zippered sweater, and then you see a tracksuit, which I thought was a varsity jacket. I was like, are they really going to give him that? That's so high school. But he tries them both on, and they think he looks good with the sweater, and he's like, I'm going to try on the other one. And then he tries on the tracksuit, and then they're like, oh, that'll look great when you're standing ringside. And he's like, ringside? And they're like, well, maybe just in case. I like that, though. And then they walk away.
Got him.
I mean, they brought back Chase U, which stayed out of business for like 5-6 months.
Yeah. I think that was the last time you and I did a show, was when they were still together.
There we go.
Like, oh, it's Chase U. That's how long it's been. Too long. Too long.
Too long indeed. And now to the moments that everybody has been waiting for. Giulia versus Jordynne Grace, the NXT Women's Championship #1 contenders match to determine who will be Stephanie's opponent at Battleground. Which match was great, and all I can say is the way that Jordynne dropped Giulia early in the match to where Vic made noises freaking out, like he was worried that like Giulia might have had her skull broken open. Like you would think that they were a thing. If you didn't know that Vic was married to Mackenzie Mitchell, you would think that they might have been a thing with concerny sound. But they just might be close.
He was super, super concerned, though.
Well, I mean, if you weren't concerned about that, then you have no soul.
I mean, yeah, it looked rough. That was
it looked lethal, but that's how good Giulia is at selling it, especially with also working over in Japan and how quite insane she can be as a heel. But I mean, match was great. Giulia had her moment of like when she was taken down quite a bit, she just got back up and started moving. It was like I felt like I was looking at Io for a minute when she does like her whole baby thing.
I was shocked. I really thought Giulia was gonna win this match. They both really, really sold it. I did not know who was gonna win. They both could have won, and it would have been a great match. So
both could have won, but we've been getting too many multi-man matches. We need to bring it down to just 2. We need to bring it down to just one-on-one.
Yep. So, it was
a
good match, though.
Yes, and with the Grace driver, Jordynne Grace became the #1 contender for Stephanie at Battleground, which we are going to get Stephanie versus Giulia. They just don't want to do it too soon.
I know. I think that's another reason I was really hoping.
Listen, Vic was freaking out. Corey was freaking out. And all I got to say is earlier in the show, when Vic asked if they were friends, and Corey said, oh, we turn on you in a heartbeat. I'm just like, boy.
Yeah. But
you know what?
Go ahead.
But I will say that I bet when Steven was watching this, he was so heartbroken and upset because he couldn't see su esposa, his wife, in Stephanie Vaquer being on TV. But after the match,
you know what?
Stephanie
came out
and squared up with Stephanie, staring her down. I was waiting the entire time for Roxanne to come out and interfere because apparently she and Giulia have become buddy since they started attacking Io and Stephanie and Rhea up in the main roster because apparently they're bored.
Yeah. I mean, do you blame them? That main card event or the main roster was absolutely huge. There was not enough TV time.
Well, I mean, when you got a good number of people back there, you got to try to figure out what you're going to do for TV time.
Yep.
But that was everything in NXT. And I will say this, I thank the NXT universe for chanting women's wrestling during the main event match, especially, again, with the release of 7 women from the group of releases that just happened.
Wow.
You took out a chunk of the one of the best women's rosters in wrestling right now. Especially two that were very prominent and very popular on TV. I hope you're happy.
Yep. The women's league is absolutely crazy right now.
And especially if we're supposed to get Evolution 2 in a couple months. Really? You took out the one mainstay tag team that's been together longer than 12 minutes.
They were so good.
Yes. A team that has been together for 4 or 5 years. And you take them out.
People know them.
If y'all are going to do that, why don't you, instead of calling it the Women's Tag Team Champions, why not just call it the Makeshift Women's Tag Team Champions? Because apparently, to qualify to try to become a tag team champion, you need to be a team up for 5 minutes or less. With the exception of Liv and Raquel teaming on and off for a few years. So they're an exception. They were the only other team that actually had longevity to Katie and Katana. To Casey and Katana. To Kate and you know what, I'm going to call her Casey because she's no longer signed. So I'm not calling her by the name that they gave her because they didn't want to use her other name. But so they could. Casey Squared is tag team goals.
Wow. Well, you know what? It was a great match. It was a great episode. All good.
Indeed, it was. And I mean, here on Unpopular Review, we have something for everybody, especially here on the Wrestling Channel. And don't forget to watch the Mike Knox Show, the show for the intelligent wrestling fan, on Tuesdays. You have the Raw Rated R review on Mondays after Raw comes off the air with BC, Big Daddy Cool and Steamy Willie Beaming. NXTrio on Tuesdays after NXT is off the air. All Elite Women review show for AEW Dynamite with Cactus Katie and whoever she works with. Top 5 and her predictions on Thursdays. The SmackDown review show with Vic and Dice, the SmackDown Penitentiary Wardens, and AEW Collision review on Saturdays. Right after Collision is off the air. And I don't know everything that's happening for Unpopular Review Entertainment, but we do have some reviews, such as for the Challenge All-Stars with our own Cactus Kitty, Captain Shay, and Mike Knox, the husband and wife review show of Mama and Papa Knox here on Unpopular Review. We have movie reviews as well. All kinds of movies. Give it a watch. So much to see on the Unpopular Review Entertainment side as well. So even if we don't know everything, there's still something for everybody. Who knows? We might review some other movies in the future.
Yeah, we need some more wrestling movies out there, guys.
I want to review Queen of the Ring, and I want to review Sinners because I just watched the movie that was so good.
Queen of the Ring is coming to streaming very, very soon, and we will be doing a review. I'm sure of it. So, stay tuned, guys. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, well, indeed.
Thank you, Wrestling Doll, for having me on. I greatly appreciate it so much, and
we greatly appreciate you filling in for our boys.
Yes, of course. Everybody deserves a break.
And with that, we wish you all a good night.
Good night, guys.
We love you all.